My girlfriend said, I just need some space to find myself. After 3 years together, I told her calmly, take all the space you need. 6 months passed in silence, then she texted, I miss you. I replied, you won't find me in that space anymore. That's when everything finally hit her, and she completely lost it. My name is Easton, I'm 30 years old, I'm a data analyst. That means I live my life by numbers, logic patterns. I see the world through spreadsheets and probabilities. For 4 years, my world included Arya, 29, a PR manager, very good at managing perceptions. She was, let's call her a status seeker. Always scanning the room, calculating who mattered, positioning herself just right. Me, I just wanted stability, a predictable outcome. We were different, sure, but it seemed to work. For 4 years, it worked. We were 30 days out from the wedding. 30 days. The venue by the lake was booked, $25,000 down, non-refundable, 200 invitations sent, RSVPs flooding in, everything planned down to the last spreadsheet cell, every variable accounted for. Or so I thought. We'd just come back from her final wedding dress fitting. She looked like a bride. We went to our favorite Italian place to celebrate, the kind of place with checkered tablecloths and too much garlic bread. Perfect. Then she said it. The 5 words that detonate perfectly planned lives. Easton, we need to talk. She wasn't looking at me, she was looking out the window. Like the streetlights were more interesting than the man she was supposed to marry in a month. I need space, she said. Her voice was flat. Cold. Space, I repeated, trying to process the data. Arya, we have 30 days until the wedding. I know, she said, still not looking at me. I need to find myself. I'm not sure this is what I want. I feel stuck. Stuck, that was the word she used. I processed it, analyzed it. What did stuck mean in this context? Was it a variable I hadn't considered? Or was it code for something else? Code for someone else? Stuck, I asked, keeping my voice level. Analyst mode engaged? Or did you find someone else already? It's not like that she lied. Her eyes flickered towards me for a second, then away. Defensive, evasive. Ah, there it was, the real data point. It wasn't about needing space, it was about cowardice, about not having the guts to just say it. Whatever it was, she just needed time. Time to figure out her exit strategy probably, time to secure her next position. I sat there, I processed her words. I need space, I feel stuck. My mind didn't go to sadness, it went to analysis. This wasn't a negotiation, it was a termination. She wasn't asking for my opinion, she was delivering a verdict she'd already decided on. Part of me, the human part, wanted to yell, to flip the table, to ask her how she could do this 30 days before our wedding after 4 years. But the other part, the analyst took over. The part that hates flawed logic and emotional manipulation. She was expecting a scene, she was braced for me to beg to cry, to bargain. That's the power she thought she had, the power to make me emotional. So I did the last thing she ever expected. I did nothing. I took a deep, slow breath. I met her eyes. They were cold, resolved. Okay, I said. My voice was perfectly level. She looked surprised, almost disappointed. Okay, you can have all the space you want. A wave of relief washed over her face. She started to nod, maybe to say, thank you, Easton, I knew you'd understand. But I interrupted. Her face froze. It won't include me. We're done. Right now. You can go find yourself, Arya, but you're not going to do it on my time. I am not your backup plan. Her mouth opened, no sound came out. This wasn't in her script. I pulled my wallet out, dropped a $100 bill on the table for the bill. Good luck, Arya. I stood up, and I walked away. I didn't look back. I got in my car. The silence was deafening. I sat there for a minute, my hands on the wheel. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't crying. I was relieved. I felt a strange, cold clarity. The flawed variable had been removed from the equation. There's a concept I read about once, the art of the silent exit. It's the understanding that in a situation of emotional manipulation, the person who screams, who argues, who demands closure, loses. Arguing with someone who has already disrespected you is just giving them a stage to disrespect you further. You're handing them the script they want, the drama they crave. The only winning move is not to play. By refusing to fight, you take back all the power. You rob them of the scene they prepared for. You rob them of the satisfaction of seeing you break. My silence wasn't weakness. It was a strategic decision. It was the first move in a new game. I started the car, and I drove home. The first week wasn't emotional hell, it was logistics hell. That's the part they don't show in the movies. The cleanup. I had to send 200 emails and text messages. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the wedding of Easton and Arya is canceled. I had to field calls from confused relatives. I had to tell my parents. Then I had to face the vendors. 5 of them. The venue, the caterer, the flowers, the band. The core problem, $25,000 in non-refundable deposits. The venue manager was sympathetic. "I'm sorry, Mr. Easton, but a contract is a contract. We're 30 days out. We can't possibly rebook." The caterer was worse. Non-refundable means non-refundable. I called Arya. I figured she should at least help with the financial fallout she caused. It went straight to voicemail. I texted her, "Arya, the vendors are holding us to the $25,000 deposit. I need your help." She texted back 2 hours later, "I'm not in a good headspace to deal with that right now, Easton. I'm focusing on my journey." Her journey? I was out 25 grand and she was on her journey. That's when my best friend Trevor called. He's not a data analyst. He's a construction manager, very direct. I heard he said, "Do you want me to go over there? I'll talk to her. Maybe slash her tires? Just say the word?" I actually laughed. "No, man. I appreciate that, but I have a better idea. Can you come over? I need a second set of eyes on what, 30 pages of vendor contracts?" Trevor groaned, but he came over. Arya saw a problem. I saw a project. So I did what I do best. I opened a new Excel spreadsheet. Row 1 venue, row 2 caterer. Column A, amount owed. Column B, contract signed. I spent the next 2 days not crying, not drinking, not finding myself. I was reading, analyzing, highlighting every single line of 5 different legal contracts. And then on the second night, buried in page 12 of the venue agreement, I found it, the smart detail, the force majeure clause. Everyone thinks it's just for floods or earthquakes, but this one was poorly written. It had a subsection, it listed acts of God war, and then, or a unilateral termination of commitment by one of the engaging parties. Arya wasn't a flood, but she was a unilateral termination of commitment. It was a loophole. A beautiful statistical anomaly of bad lawyering. I checked the other 4 contracts. 2 of them had nearly identical language. The next 2 months were not about healing, they were about silent, focused action. My battlefield wasn't my feelings, it was my inbox. It was polite, persistent legal emails, citing the exact clause. It was 3-way calls with my lawyer, who I paid for a single hour of his time just to confirm my analysis. It was tense meetings where vendors tried to steamroll me, and I just calmly pointed to Section 8, subsection B. It was a war of attrition, me, my spreadsheet, and their fine print. And I won. It took 57 days, but I got back 90% of the deposits. $22,500. Arya, by the way, never once replied to a single logistics email. She was presumably still finding herself. With the money back, I felt clean. The project was complete. I looked around my apartment. It still felt like ours. I decided to start with my home office. I needed a new space, a space that was just mine. I hired an architect to help me redesign the room. Her name was Maggie. She came over and she didn't talk about vibes or energy. She was a builder. She took out a notepad. She measured the walls. She asked logical questions. What's your workflow? Where does the light come from in the morning? What's the primary function of this space? She was logical. She was patient. She listened. She wasn't looking for a journey. She was looking at the blueprints. And we started to build a plan. 6 months went by. 6 months of spreadsheets, lawyer, emails, and slowly rebuilding. I got the deposits back. My home office was finished. Maggie and I were building something solid. Then my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I almost ignored it. But I'm an analyst. I don't like unknown variables. I answered. Easton. It was a voice I hadn't heard in 6 months. It was Arya. She was crying. Easton, I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. I said nothing. I've been finding myself. And it was all just empty. I realized what I want is you. What I want is us. I miss us. I took a breath. I looked around my new office, the clean lines, the solid wood. I miss us too, Arya, I said calmly. But the man you left 6 months ago at that restaurant, he's gone. You didn't just ask for space from him. You erased him. No, she pleaded. We can fix this. I know we can. We can try again. What about the deposits? We can just rebook everything. We can't, I said. Why, I'll help this time. I promise I'll call them. No, Arya, I said. You can't. Because I already used them. The crying stopped. Just silence on the other end. What? What did you say? I used the deposits? The $22,500 I fought for. Maggie and I are using them. We're getting married at that exact venue by the lake next month. She didn't speak for a second. Then she just unraveled. You can't. That's our venue. You did this to spite me. No, I said. I did this because I'm a data analyst. It was a sunk cost I recovered. It was a logical use of assets. Assets, she screamed. My wedding? My life? What about my dress? My $5,000 wedding dress that's still at your apartment? I let that hang in the air for a second. Oh, that, I said. It fit Maggie perfectly after a few alterations. Turns out you two have the same taste. The only difference is she actually appreciates it. And I hung up. The fallout was predictable. That's the analyst in me speaking. The data was clear. About an hour after I hung up on Arya, Trevor called me. He sounded exhausted. Man, he said, what did you do? I just stated the facts, Trevor. Why, she's in full meltdown mode. She's been texting me, texting our mutual friends, a novel, all caps, saying you're a monster, saying you're cold, heartless, cruel, that you stole her wedding dress. I just sighed. I didn't steal it. I repurposed an abandoned asset. Trevor laughed. Only you would call it that. Anyway, just a heads up. She's painting you as the bad guy, a real villain. Let her, I said. People who know me know the data. People who believe her, well, that's just bad analysis on their part. I'm not worried. And I wasn't. Because a month later, I was standing at that exact venue by the lake. Maggie was there. She wasn't wearing Arya's dress. She was wearing her own. We sold Arya's dress online. Used the $5,000 for our honeymoon, poetic justice. Our wedding wasn't for 200 people. It was for 30. Our closest friends. Trevor was my best man. There was no ice sculpture, no 5-tier cake. We used that $22,500, my money. And we had an incredible dinner and a live jazz band. It wasn't a PR event, it was a commitment. Maggie the builder just smiled at me. She wasn't a status seeker, she was a partner. She wasn't looking for space, she was building a foundation. Arya wanted space, I gave it to her, I gave her all the space in the world, and in that empty void, she left behind. I built a new life. Maggie and I, we built a foundation on the ground Arya abandoned. It's funny, this story has a happy ending because I met Maggie, because my revenge was sweet. But let's run a different analysis for a second. What if it hadn't been? What if after I left that restaurant, I didn't meet Maggie? What if I struggled? What if I was just alone? Would my decision still have been the right one? The answer logically is yes. We are all conditioned by outcome bias. We judge a decision based on whether the result was good or bad. But the real value of my decision wasn't in finding a new partner. The victory wasn't the wedding with Maggie. The victory was the moment I put that $100 bill on the table and walked away. The victory was choosing my own self-respect over her toxic manipulation. Success isn't measured by what you gain at the end. It's measured by the peace you reclaim for yourself. The happy ending was just a bonus. The win was secured the second I chose to leave. The final lesson is this. When someone tells you they need space to find themselves, it's a polite lie. It's a coward's excuse. What they really mean is they want a free pass to explore other options while keeping you on pause just in case their new plan doesn't work out. They want you as their safety net. My advice, be a strategist, not a safety net. Give them all the space they want. Give them an infinite amount of it, but never ever give them a way back in. Have you ever had to make a logical decision, even if it made you look like the bad guy? Share your strategy in the comments. This is Project Checkmate. Join us for the next game.